So ladies, I have another devotion for both of you, and I title this one, The Unclean. And you can read about these people to some degree in Hebrews chapter 10. And this chapter talks about, other things like believers assembling together and how that is absolutely essential. But it also talks about those people who know the gospel, who know the sacrifice of Christ, but they still trample on it. And for those individuals, there is no sacrifice left. And that's simply because they rejected the sacrifice of all sacrifices, that being God. So what can there be left? Another book that talks about these people in devastating detail is the book of Jude. And I've done a devotion on that book some time back. You can dig it up in the archives of a father's devotions. But for me, this is one of the most terrifying books in God's Word, especially the first half of the book, because it talks about false believers, or the unclean, or to put it another way, those who are truly lost. And among other things, it likens them to wandering stars for whom darkest night has been reserved. Individuals who are blemishes at your love feasts. And one of the interesting things that it says is that such individuals slipped in among us. And this, for me, is probably one of the most important parts of this passage, because it gives a chief attribute of those who are unclean, and that is that they're stealthy. And because of that, 1 John chapter 2, you can read this one as well, says that they came out from us, but they weren't really of us. And this would explain, for me, why the evangelical churches in America in particular, the Metho-Baptist, Costal, and even some elements of the Roman Catholic Church are so ineffective in stemming the tide of America's moral and spiritual decay. It's precisely because these false believers, these individuals who are truly unclean, have infiltrated the church, the parachurch ministries at every level. And in so doing, they have rendered the church, in a general sense, inert and inept at truly dealing with the decay that surrounds them. So I suppose the practical application for both of you ladies is, no matter what the cost in your lives, to maintain the central awareness and knowledge and understanding of the sacrificial nature of the cross of Christ. That in the ultimate sense, you bring nothing with you to the table before God but that cross. And that's going to cause you problems with the people around you, with perhaps some of the institutions that you may find yourselves involved with. And most certainly it's going to cause you problems with yourselves, because even though we are believers, we still have that sinful nature about us that we fight from the womb to the tomb. And so even then, we're going to try and chip away at what Christ has done for us in our own lives. God bless you both.